Charlie said with a smile. Then you came to Shangri-La, you really didn't come wrong. After all, he was next to Paul. Mr. Paul, I don't know how you feel about Chinese dining. Are you still used to eating? Paul smiled and said, Mr. Charlie, don't forget that I am also half Chinese, and to be honest, I prefer Chinese food to those fast food and Western food in the United States. As he said, Paul hurriedly said, by the way, let me tell you, my mother cooks very well. She is the best Chinese chef I have ever seen. She has great cooking skills. Charlie couldn't help but exclaimed, I didn't expect Aunt to look so beautiful, have such a good temperament, and cook deliciously. Mei Ching said modestly, don't listen to this kid's nonsense, he brags too much for me. Jacob could not help but sigh at the side at this time. When we were going to school together, you always said to cook for me, but at that time everyone was living on campus, and there was never a very suitable opportunity. More than 20 years have passed. Now, to be honest, I haven't eaten this meal yet. Mei Ching smiled and said seriously, then if I have the opportunity, I can cook for you to taste. But I can put the shame on the front. My cooking is not as delicious as Paul said. If you are disappointed, then if you do, don't blame me. When Jacob heard this, he became excited, and blurted out, really? When will you have time? After that, Jacob couldn't wait to say, if you have time, we can make an appointment at my house. What kind of dishes you will do, or what you want to do, tell me directly. I will buy and make all the ingredients in advance. Everything is prepared, and then you and Paul come to the house, you just cook, I'll help you, let the children just eat. Mei Ching said with some embarrassment, is this appropriate? Elaine shouldn't want to see me, right? In yesterday's phone call, Jacob told Mei Ching that he and Elaine had broken up and had separated, but there was no specific reason for that, and he did not say that Elaine is now missing. Therefore, Mei Ching thought that the two had just separated bedrooms, but they still lived in a house, so they didn't want to go to his house, for fear that they would meet Elaine again. Not to mention that this woman is not a good thing. Jacob hurriedly waved his hand at this time, and said indifferently, you don't have to worry about her. She is not at home now, and I don't know when she will be back. It will be impossible for a while. Having said that, Jacob said again, in my opinion, choosing a day is better than hitting the sun. Let's have dinner in Shangri-La at noon, and then you will go back to the hotel to rest. Come to my house in the afternoon. We can cook together. Have a meal, so I can also introduce my daughter to you. Jacob's consideration was simple, because he was worried that Elaine would come back suddenly in the next 2 days. In case she suddenly returned home, then she would not have such a good opportunity. Killing him, he would not dare to invite Mei Ching to eat at his home while Elaine is still at home. In that case, Elaine would probably hack him to death with a knife. So he felt it. If you want to have such an opportunity, he must do it as soon as possible, and the sooner the better. Mei Ching couldn't help thinking back then. Because her hometown was in Suzhou, when she was studying in Orus Hill, she could only live in a dormitory. Moreover, when everyone was in love, they were relatively shy and low-key, and didn't dare to let the family know, so she always wanted to cook a meal for Jacob, but she never found a suitable opportunity. Back then it was not as convenient as it is now. Now if you want to find a place to cook for couples, you can directly find a hotel apartment or a short-term rental family apartment to solve the problem, and there are kitchen utensils, everything. But at that time, there was no such condition. Even if you are staying in an ordinary guest house outside, you need to open a letter of introduction by your unit. Therefore, young people at that time are in love, it is impossible to go out to a hotel or guest house to open a room. At that time, the school's own guest house did not need to open a letter of introduction, as long as the student ID can open a room, but ordinary students dare not go there to open a room, because they are likely to be caught by classmates and teachers. The first time that Mei Ching and Jacob tasted the forbidden fruit was when Jacob secretly took her home one night when there was no one in Wilson's house. The two of them hurriedly finished it at home. After that, the two wanted to taste that taste again. They could only wait until Jacob had no one at home. However, in the Wilson family at that time, although the eldest brother Noah went to school in other places, Most of the projects of Mr. Wilson were in the local area and he did not often go out. And Mrs. Wilson seldom travels far, so the chance of no one at home was extremely rare. Therefore, for a long time, when two people wanted to try the forbidden fruit, they could only choose to go to the school grove, or in the park of Orus Hill, or to abandoned houses or even construction sites. Most college students of that era used this way to fall in love, and there was no way. It seems crazy now, but it was really normal in that era. After all, young people's hormones need to be released and there is no suitable venue to choose from. Especially the small woods in the school are the most popular. They are dark inside. There may be a pair every 10 meters. Everyone can hear other people's voices, but no one says nothing and doesn't look at other people. A tacit understanding, each busy with own things. Because no one can see who, and no one knows who it is, no one feels ashamed.